NTA International News.
Nigerian government partners World Bank to boost dry season farming. Commences construction of feeder roads and expansion of irrigation facilities in selected states. ECOWAS Commission Committee of the Red Cross enjoined member states to domesticate international humanitarian law. And Gambian authorities releases 98 prisoners in a bid to turn away from past authoritarian leadership as China projects 7% increase spending on military this year. A very good evening to you and thanks for joining us on the NTA International News at 7. I am Isaac Nkuma. The chairperson of the African Union, AU President Alpha Condé of Guinea Friday called President Muhammadu Buhari in London to wish him good health and speedy recovery. This is contained in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. President Condé, who said he was calling on behalf of leaders of member countries of the AU, assured the Nigerian president that all African leaders stand with him in prayers at a time like this. President Buhari, while thanking President Condé for the telephone call, used the opportunity to congratulate him on his recent election as AU chairperson during the 28th Ordinary Summit of the continent body in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia in January 2017. The Nigerian president, who could not attend the AU summit, wished his Guinea counterpart a successful tenure. President Buhari also expressed confidence that Africa will witness improved political stability, security and economic growth during Condé's tenure. Meanwhile, the ECOWAS Commission and the International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, have raised the bar on their 50 years partnership on the promotion of international humanitarian law, IHL. The two bodies met for the first time in Abuja to enlighten member states on contemporary international humanitarian laws and the need to domesticate IHL in each country's legal system. Oyeyemi Ajayi was at the event and now reports.
This is the first time the ECOWAS Commission and the International Committee of Red Cross, ICRC, will jointly hold this kind of meeting. The meeting was to serve as a platform for experts from ECOWAS member states to network and exchange views on contemporary international humanitarian law issues. It was also meant to present ICRC and ECOWAS jointly report on implementation of international humanitarian law in West Africa, which was published in December 2016.
On its part, the ICRC, through its 7 delegations in West Africa, works closely with national authorities, including the legislator and national IHL committees, to ensure that IHL treaties are domesticated in national laws.
In 2006, 2,500 war wounded were operated by our surgical teams in Maiduguri in Nigeria and Difa in Niger. These are the people who have been wounded during the hostilities conducted in these two countries.
Part of the future priorities of the ECOWAS Commission is to ensure greater coordination with the ICRC through elaboration of a joint plan of action and increased funding.
There are different, IHL itself is made up, it's a body of laws. It's not just a single law. So you have the Geneva Conventions, you have the Arms Trade Treaty, you have treaties on small arms and light weapons. Specifically, there's an ECOWAS convention on small arms and light weapons. You have other laws which also have a bearing on international humanitarian laws.
In having meetings with member states since 2000, we've had 13 meetings, the last one being in June last year. So all member states are interested, and I believe about 11 have already signed on to the IHL.
For over 50 years, the ECOWAS Commission and the ICRC have been working closely to promote international humanitarian law in the sub-region. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Adani in Enugu State is set to return to all year-round farming to boost its rice production. Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu inspected the ongoing rehabilitation of the irrigation infrastructure in the area, giving hope of its timely completion. Correspondent Musbao Danwahab reports.
Adani Irrigation Project is one of those well-intended initiatives put in place to boost agricultural production in the country. Under it is other rice irrigation projects, and it's perfectly fitting to the federal government 2-point agenda in the rice value chain, which are import substitution and employment creation. This lofty project, initiated in the 1960s, suffered a series of setbacks before total dilapidation. Arable land like this, as vast as 1,000 hectares, is available for this project, literally begging for cultivation. But then, the farmers are on holidays because it is dry season and they have no access to irrigation facilities. As we made our way through the farmland, I met Emmanuel Udemezwe and his group of energetic youths who used to grow rice, maize and other crops. Unfortunately, Emmanuel and his folks now hunt to make a living.
As you see youth now, without this thing, cannot get money. Nothing like any occupation for youth.
Which work did they do before?
Now we are farming.
And when the Water Resources Minister, Suleiman Adamu, led his team to give new hope of resuscitation to the infrastructure, the farmers were skeptical.
And inside our farm that they told us to go and do our irrigation, there's nothing has been done there. All the canal is damaged.
The project has been abandoned for so many years.
Yes.
But we want to complete it by God's grace. This government will try to finish this project. But I hope by next dry season, I pray that everything will be clear because we are pumping money into this project now.
Channeling of the canal through the farmlands for surface irrigation has started.
Maybe the farmers were not aware that work has resumed and they had not been prepared adequately to clear their land and start farming. And of course, it's already getting to the end of the dry season. But hopefully, now that we can see that water is back in the canals, of course, next dry season, we expect that I'm sure the farmers will be here all over. The opportunity is there for them to start cultivating.
With these efforts, Emmanuel and others like him now have hope, and the minister assures they can begin all year-round farming as from next season. From Adani in Enugu State, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Instead of talking dry season farming, the federal government, in partnership with the World Bank, has commenced the construction of feeder roads and expansion of irrigation facilities in selected states in Nigeria to further boost dry season farming in the country. This is coming as the government pledged to continue to pay its counterpart fund for the project. Musa Baba Aliu has details.
The initiative of the federal government is for farmers in the country to be able to produce crops all year round. And the partnership with the World Bank is to provide solutions to all the challenges affecting farming activities. Provision of improved seeds, heavy-duty farming equipment, as well as upgrading of irrigation facilities are part of the initiative.
We have machine tricycles here, we have power tillers that will ease our farmers in boosting their farm production.
Officials of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture were in Kano to inspect 4.7 feeder road, tomato farms, as well as irrigation facilities in Kano State under the World Bank project.
And you see that they are tilling more land. Here, the average farmer, as they told us, do 10 hectares. That's a lot. While around the country, you see most people do 1.5 to 2 hectares. And I think we're impressed with what is happening in Kano, and they're in the 3 value chain of rice, tomato, and sorghum. Well, we have told them that they need to do more. They need to really sensitize more farmers, and we have even told them that to really...
Though the program is jointly funded by the federal government and the World Bank, all participating states are expected to pay a counterpart fund. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And away from agriculture, one sure way to checkmate the challenges of collapsed building is to prosecute building law violators. Head of Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyeta, said this at the Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers seminar in Abuja. Olainka Ojo reports.
The spate of building collapse in Nigeria in the past 20 years have assumed a very worrisome dimension, as many lives are lost and huge investments wasted. Identifying some of the challenges confronting the sector in Nigeria, Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Winifred Oyeta, noted that there's a knowledge gap in the industry and civil engineers and builders must adhere to standards so as to reduce cases of collapsed buildings.
The present government is looking more into local
content. And that is why we need to have improvements in what is being delivered to the Nigerian people.
Delivering a paper entitled A Wake Up to Nigerian Engineers, APC National Auditor Dr. George Mogalu pointed out that every major engineering innovation has come at the hand of people who see the world differently from others.
Technology allows us to communicate with one another, to document our lives, to innovate, and to more efficiently manage our time and resources, are all testament to the ingenuity of men and women like yourselves.
Stakeholders also reiterated the need to strengthen mortgage system in the country, as this will make construction more affordable. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Still talking the environment, in an effort to further enhance proper management of the ever-increasing municipal solid waste disposal, the Abuja Environmental Protection Board, with support from Japan International Cooperation Agency, is running a pilot project on integrated solid waste management system in some parts of the Federal Capital Territory. Justin Bemunyi has details.
Total generated waste volume in the Federal Capital City of the country, based on Waste Composition Survey, shows that 1,338 tons of waste is generated every day, and this is from 0.74 kilogram per person per day. The challenge of improved collection, transportation, discharge, and proper management of these waste has continued to be a concern for the government.
The Blue Day project is designed to promote the 3 R's, that is, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
The Life Camp area has been selected for pilot project for the Integrated Solid Waste Management System and Blue Bin program to promote proper waste discharge and collection of recyclables for sale. So far, 2,100 kilograms of recyclables is said to have been collected with the distributed 119 blue bins.
By doing so, we are able to make sure that all the residents are given the blue bin for the collection of all these recyclables. Every Wednesday, we go out to come and collect the recyclable and take it to our dump site for sorting. At our dump site, we sort them into different categories.
Also, for quality improvement in the health sector, the Japan International Cooperation Agency has introduced an approach called 5S Kaizen, a simple yet highly effective approach for continuous quality improvement of healthcare and hospital management in resource-constrained settings. The Maitama District Hospital is the pioneering medical center.
About the JICA project and to further strengthen our friendship.
The projects are expected to be extended to other parts of the FCT soon. In Abuja, Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
And moving on to other matters now, as part of activities leading to marking the 80th birthday of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, a symposium was held in Abeokuta, which featured various speakers, including former United States Ambassador to the United Nations, Andrew Young, in attendance.
The two-in-one program featured an international symposium and presentation of 40 African drums by the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, attracted dignitaries from both national and international communities. Speaking on the theme, Purpose of Utilitarian Values of Presidential Libraries, panel of 7 discussants included Ambassador Andrew Young, USA, Tracy Roosevelt, USA, Dr. Mary Kimulu, Kenya, Fred Awa, Ghana, Shud Jidowo, Nigeria, extolled the doggedness and visionary values of the celebrant for establishing the library. The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, represented by the Director General, National Theatre, Igamu, Lagos, John Ofort, the Director General, Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, represented by the Executive Director News, Mr. Shola Atere, and the Director General, Center for Black African Arts and Civilization, Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe, while speaking on other benefits of the OOPL, described it as the first of its kind in Africa, catalyst for human security and development and assets to African continent.
The power and the duty
proud African, who takes the African message, African views forcefully to the world. And that is why, they respect him, and by respecting him, they'll be respecting his views, and they'll be respecting the continent itself.
The celebrant, while responding, presented Presidential Library as an act of God for him to correct some of his mistakes of the past. The event also featured presentation of 40 African drums by Center for Black African Arts and Civilization in commemoration of 40 years of Festac 77, which was established by the celebrant. In Abeokuta, Anthony Gandono, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Senate President Bukola Saraki has congratulated former President Olusegun Obasanjo as he clocks 80 and described him as a beacon of national unity, peace and progress. The Senate President, in a tribute, said he's delighted on behalf of the 8th Senate to join family, friends and numerous well-wishers of Chief Obasanjo in celebrating his entry into the elite club of octogenarians. In a statement by the Special Advisor, Media and Publicity to the Senate President, Yusuf Olanionu, he said apart from having served the country diligently, passionately and conscientiously for many decades, Chief Obasanjo has remained one of the dominant figures in national discourse, adding that on several fronts he has served the nation diligently and passionately. He added that it is for these reasons and many more that he prayed God to continue to give him good health, great wisdom and the unflinching grace to serve Nigeria, Africa and humanity in general for many more years. You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
International news. Africa as it is.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's now join Uche Nwizu on our Week in Review segment of the news.
It's my pleasure to have you on this segment of the news, where you're reminded of highlights of top news events in the week. The Nigerian Armed Forces got a pat on the back for the successes recorded against insurgents in the northeast. This was during a security briefing chaired by the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo.
I'm very satisfied with what the military has done so far, and the briefings have shown graphically that they really are on top of their game.
This motivation gave rise to a strategic decision to establish 6 divisions in Port Harcourt and a brigade in Bayelsa State to stem oil theft and criminal activities in the Niger Delta region of the country. And on its part, the Nigerian Air Force inaugurated the 211 Regiment Group in Owerri, Imo State, as part of efforts to expand its structures to defend the nation's territorial integrity. To further equip the nation's security personnel to surmount the new threats of insurgency in Africa, participants of the National Defense College Course 25 embarked on a study tour to Mali,
There, President Ibrahim Keita stressed the need for greater vigilance and coordination of sting operations by security forces in the continent. In the course of the week, the federal government put machinery in place for the establishment of gas industrial park valued at about $20 billion. This project, to be sited in the Niger Delta, is part of commitment to develop the region. Also, Nigeria-Morocco partnership on fertilizer produced 4,000 metric tons of locally blended fertilizers, which will be sold to farmers at subsidized rates. The Southeast took its turn in the ongoing Ministry of Information and Culture's town hall meeting. Top on the agenda were promotion of agriculture, solid mineral development, and creation of conducive atmosphere for the growth and development of made-in-Nigeria goods and services.
I can boldly say that Abia State is a pace setter. Today, the state supplies high-quality military boots to our military, and that is just one of such impressive ventures.
The week witnessed the National Dialogue on Corruption, where acting President Oshibajo solicited the cooperation of international communities on the country's fight against corruption, while participants advocated sanity and tolerance in religious affairs and an overhaul of the educational system. The Federal Executive Council meeting in the outgoing week proposed a maximum of 701 billion naira payments to contractors from 2016 to 2018.
The approval of council was to provide this guarantee for MBET, which is a 100% government-owned company, to pay on a monthly basis its obligations for energy actually produced.
At the National Assembly, the Senate confirmed Justice Walter Onogen as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and the bill for an act to provide for the enforcement and punishment of crimes against humanity passed second reading at the House of Representatives. Nigeria received kudos for being the first member of the United Nations to launch a private sector advisory group on the Sustainable Development Goals. Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Nicholas Saitz, commended Nigerians' giant strides. Still on Nigeria's pride place at the United Nations, immediate past Minister of Environment Amina Mohammed was sworn in as Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations in New York. During the week in review, the federal government unveiled 4 goals strategic plan to reposition the country's civil service. Also, the acting president inspected facilities at the Kaduna airport to ensure that everything is in place to meet the March 8th deadline for the closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, for repair works. And a special report was a wake-up call to Nigeria to tap into recycling waste for wealth creation as it examines Tokyo 2020 Olympics Organizing Committee's plan to make medals from recycled mobile phones. On this exciting knowledge about turning waste into wealth, we end this segment of the news. I am Uche Rizu. Stay tuned for the rest of the bulletin.
And next in our lineup is trending stories away from Nigeria.
Gambia authorities have released 98 prisoners, mostly from the notorious Mile 2 prison. An Interior Ministry spokesman said this is because the country seeks to turn a new page on the authoritarian era of former President Yahya Jammeh. The release follows the freeing of about 170 prisoners 2 weeks ago. And police in Democratic Republic of Congo said they have arrested the leader of a separatist cult in the capital, Kinshasa, following a 2-week standoff in which at least 6 of his supporters were killed. China says it will increase military spending by 7% this year, just days after Donald Trump outlined a boost to the U.S. defense budget. This announcement was made ahead of the annual National People's Congress in Beijing. The announcement marks the second consecutive year that the increase in China's defense spending has been below 10%, following nearly 2 decades. Olainka Ojo, NTA News.
And sports now, Samba Boys win 4th Hugo Chavez competition in Abuja as Rwandan community in Nigeria collaborates with Abuja Tennis Club on Umuganda project. Details with Chukunonso Mwaboise.
The competition, which was at the instance of the Venezuelan embassy Abuja in honor of the country's former leader Hugo Chavez, had 4 teams in attendance. In the end, Samba Boys emerged champions of the 4th edition of the tournament with